The night the sea took everything from Montserrat Mendoza. It did not ask permission. It arrived roaring against the cliffs, swallowing laughter, promises, and the soft white dress she had worn with so much hope. In a single breath, life ripped away the future she thought was guaranteed, leaving her clinging to wreckage and to a pain so sharp it felt like it would split her in two. That was the moment Montserrat learned that life does not always steal gently. Sometimes it takes with violence and leaves you alive only to test how strong your heart truly is. Montserrat was born into wealth, but not into freedom. Her world was built of grand houses and heavy expectations, where love was traded for status and silence was rewarded more than truth. From a young age, she learned to smile even when her chest felt tight, to obey even when her soul resisted. Her mother believed security was the same as happiness, and her family's name mattered more than her dreams. Montserrat, however, dreamed of a life where love was chosen, not arranged, and where her voice could rise without fear. That dream arrived in the form of Alejandro, a man with tired eyes and an honest heart, someone who saw her not as a possession, but as a person. With him, Montserrat felt alive in a way she never had before. Their love was not perfect, but it was real. It was built in stolen moments, whispered promises, and the shared belief that love alone could be enough to change fate. They planned to run away together, to leave behind the chains of family obligation and begin again. But life had other plans. On the night they were meant to escape, betrayal struck from within her own blood. Lies were spoken, truth was buried, and Montserrat was forced into a marriage she did not want, bound to a man who valued control over compassion. Alejandro vanished from her life, swallowed by misunderstandings and cruel manipulation. The sea that night did not just steal a wedding. It stole her freedom, her love, and the future she had dared to imagine. Years passed, and Montserrat hardened. The soft girl who once believed love could conquer all learned instead how to survive. Her marriage became a battlefield where emotional cruelty replaced affection. She was expected to endure, to remain silent, to accept pain as her destiny. And for a long time she did. Not because she was weak, but because she was trapped, and trapped people often confuse endurance with strength. Yet inside her, something refused to die. Every loss carved her deeper, but it also shaped her. She learned to read people's intentions, to protect herself, to wait. Life had stolen so much from her, but it had not stolen her ability to feel, to hope, or to fight. When Alejandro unexpectedly returned, older and scarred by his own losses, the past came rushing back with dangerous force. Their love, once buried, beat fiercely beneath the surface, reminding them both of who they had been before the world broke them. Their reunion was not easy. Too much time had passed. Too many wounds remained open. Alejandro carried anger and guilt, believing Montserrat had chosen wealth over him. Montserrat carried shame and sorrow, believing she had failed herself by surrendering to fear. Between them stood secrets, betrayals, and the heavy weight of everything life had stolen. The challenges they faced were not only external, but deeply internal. Montserrat had to confront her fear of choosing love again, terrified that hope would only lead to more loss. Alejandro had to face his resentment and learn that love cannot survive without trust. Together, they had to fight against a powerful family determined to control Montserrat's future at any cost. The turning point came not through romance, but through truth. Montserrat finally found the courage to speak. She revealed the lies that had separated them, the threats that had forced her into marriage, the years of silent suffering. For the first time, she chose herself over appearances, honesty over fear. It was not easy. Her confession cost her security, reputation, and the last fragile protection she had within her family. But it gave her something far more valuable: her freedom. Alejandro, faced with the truth, was forced to let go of his anger. He realized that love is not about possession or pride, but about understanding and forgiveness. He chose to stand beside Montserrat, not as her savior, but as her equal. Together, they faced the consequences of her choices in his absence, knowing that healing does not erase the past, but learns to live with it. Their path forward was uncertain. They did not reclaim everything life had stolen. Some losses were permanent, some wounds never fully healed, but they built something new from the ashes, something honest and strong. Montserrat learned that her worth was never tied to wealth or approval. Alejandro learned that love requires patience, courage, and humility. In the end, Montserrat stood by the same sea that once took everything from her. But this time, she was no longer afraid. She understood that life would continue to steal, to test, to break what seemed unbreakable. Yet she also knew that nothing life takes can truly destroy a soul that refuses to surrender. Life had stolen her innocence, her first dreams, and years she would never get back. But it did not steal her strength. It did not steal her capacity to love again. And it did not steal her future, because she chose to claim it with her own hands. The message was clear, written not in words, but in scars and survival. What life steals can shape you, but it does not have to define you. Even after loss, even after betrayal, the heart can rise, stronger and wiser, ready to love, not from desperation, but from truth.